Yeah, guys. So please settle down. I'm just starting the session now today. Go on mute, everyone. Thank you for joining in again. Uh, I hope you all are doing the practice. And if there is any sort of confusion, please let me know about it. Okay? Because PowerPivot if you leave the DAX, if you put the DAX aside, PowerPivot. I don't think so. Is there any challenge in using the power pivot? It's like a simple, the normal pivot. So DAX is really very important, and it is because of the DAX that the power pivot is so much used in the market. Okay, because as you know, by you have seen now, by now I'm sure you all agree that through the DAX measures we can do really fantastic jobs which were totally missing in the normal pivots. Okay, so I'm starting now. So this is a new chapter, and I will go and talk about one the function called the related function. Okay, this is a very important DAX because this works like a VLOOKUP. We all know that in Excel the VLOOKUP is the most used formula, isn't it? And that is simply because of the fact that it is actually a lookup function and it can get the information. So same way, we don't have a VLOOKUP in DAX. We have a related DAX. Okay, related DAX. I'll also tell you about one of the another DAX which is called related table. This is the another DAX. Though I have not used it much, but you never know, if you ever have to, use this in future, then you can keep this in mind that there is a function called related table also, but the most important function is actually related DAX. So as I said, that it works like a VLOOKUP. So we all have learned the VLOOKUP in Excel, so this is going to be pretty simple for us, but a couple of things we will notice before using the related DAX, that how basically relationships are important in this before you go and use the related DAX. Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of idea about the data modeling today. Okay, and of course in the coming chapter we will talk about this in detail. Okay, now so first of all, let us make sure that we understand the data. So this is your previous data. Okay, you know that this table we have been using. So this is a customer with the zone, the month performance, the year performance, the year, the tab, and how much the customer basically paying for these books. Okay, it can be a rent, it can be anything. Let's not get into the headers, the terminology. Okay, then there is another table which we have created here, where you have all the book names, but there is no repetition in the book. So it has a unique list of books, and which book is written by which author. Okay, so you can have multiple authors, because an author can write two books at the same time, no wonder. But if once I have a book, here as per our database, that book is not repeated, and you can see that here. Okay, these all books are available here, and they are being purchased by different customers at different the days. So here the books are obviously repeating. Then there is another table which I have created. Let us see how we are going to use it, in case if we have to use it. So this is a book with the original price. Okay, so this book has actually original price. What is the market price of this book? Okay, and in the cost purchase, let me just change this to dollar. So this book is, the original price is here, and the book actually at the time when the customer is purchasing, how much he is paying, or maybe a rent plan, whatever you want to call it, that's available here. Okay, so we have actually three tables. That means, so one table is your let's go to the this one, cost purchase. The another table is author name list. So this is author name list. Okay, which author has written which book. And then there is another book which says book price original. So I have a book with the original price, and also there is a level, for example, like basic level, advanced level, intermediate level. Okay, Now let us go to the Power Pivot and let us see what we are actually trying to do here, guys. Okay, let me take you to what if, let me ask you one question actually. So you have a table here and this table can be in any other sheet also, right? That's not the point. It can be anywhere else also. You know, that's not the thing, okay? I've just written it here just to give you the demo. Now, what if I say that I want, let's say here, the author name, the book name wise, the author name. So what are you going to do? How will you get the author name? First, you'll figure it out which table actually has the author name. You will go to that table and then you will go and you can write the VLOOKUP, isn't it? Why you will write the VLOOKUP? Because you have a book name available here and you have a book name available here. So you can pick the book name from here and you can just go in this table and you will get the second column. From the second column you will get the name, isn't it? This is how actually the VLOOKUP works. Let me undo this. Okay, so what if you have to do the same task in the Power Pivot window? How will you do it there? That's the important point. How will you do that, right? Because you know that most of the time we like to do the things in Power Pivot window also, right? We don't want to do anything over here, maybe because of my data size. If I have, let's say, 50,000 rows here, then why not to use that additional column in the Power Pivot window? Why to waste this much of the space, because this will unnecessarily make your Excel file heavier. So I have a plan. We will go in the manage and then we will try to figure it out that how we can get the author. Okay, now like we have it is a lookup function. It can look up the information for you. Okay, let's go in the Power Pivot window. Okay, so now we are into the Power Pivot window. So now what you have to do, you go in the this column, because there are so many values, so we have to do the calculation row by row. So we will go and use the calculated column. I mean, we will go and use this related DAX as a calculated column. Now this does not mean that related DAX can't be used as a measure. It can be used as a measure also, but here, because I want the author to be printed against every row, so it's very obvious that you will go and use this as a calculated column, right? So first let's go and write here the author name. So I start typing here the author name colon equals to, and then we will write related. Okay, so you start typing here the related. Now when you type the related means that what is the another thing which you want actually to show here, which is related with this data, right? Now what do you mean by related with this data? Well, it actually means that is there any common field between those two tables? One is this table and the another one from where you actually want to capture the author name. Now you know that our table actually is this one. Which one? Our table is auth name list. Now in the auth name list I have two headers, you know that one is author and one is the book name. So I will go and select the author because I need the author. Okay, so the moment I press enter, now this is done, that's it. I press enter, you should be able to see the author name. Now answer will come, that's not the point, you can see here, but you need to understand a couple of things here, very important. First thing is that how basically this worked. So if you go in the author name list, you have the book name here, right? Now this book name is able to converse with this book name. So that means the book names basically are acting as those intermediator. Okay, if you don't have a book name, let's say available in this auth name, and it's author and let's say some another header, maybe let's say author date of birth, author maybe age, in that case you can't use the related. So related also need one thing in common, one header related has to, before we work, related needs you to give it a a field header which should be available in both the tables. So we have that. And also one more thing, when I say that that field has to be available in both the tables, there is a proper terminology we use which is called one-to-many. I'll just explain you what is called a one-to-many. Before we get into that, I want to show you that how it is able to find out this. So when I say that, the book name is going to look up here, and based on the book name the author is found, so how actually that happened? You should know that by going in the diagram view. There is a diagram view here. So related is a relationship function, I mean, you can say it's actually working on the fact that both the tables have some relationship, right? And that relationship is being set up using the common field called the book name, as I said that, right? So if you go in the diagram view, this is the first time we are going in the diagram view, guys. This is where we go and do the data modeling. Okay, I'll talk about that in the next lecture again. Now when you go in the diagram view, somehow my PowerPivot is working slow. I think I need to reboot the system. You see here something very crazy. If you are not a database person, if you haven't used any database like MS Access or SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, or any other DB2, DB Lite, there are so many databases. This window is going to be a little bit of worry for you, right? Though this sort of work we had seen in the PowerQuery also, but anyways, I assume that nobody from you knows the database, no Power Query. So let us start from the scratch. Okay, now you see, first of all, what is this? This is a diagram. This diagram I can create it by myself also. But first of all, this is already inbuilt, so we want to check how it is done and what does that mean. So you have to go and understand this thing. Okay, guys? You see, this is called a one, and this is star means many. So this is actually one to many, and this is again one to many. Now what does that mean? One to many. One to many means what? Before I explain you one to many, you need to see the arrow sign. This arrow sign can also be reversed, but it is not. Why? Again, you can see this arrow sign also. It's actually going from author name to customer purchase. So it means that here you have one, here you have many. At the same time, here also you say the same thing. Here you have one and here you have many. Now what does that mean? One means what? This is called a relationship. In database, we also call them joins. Okay, inner join, outer join, left join, right join. In Power Query also we use it. So this, when you hover your mouse here, this automatically gets highlighted. You see these points, book name, both the book names are highlighted. And if you go here, here also the book name gets highlighted. So this means this book name has one to many relationship with this cost purchase book name. This book name has one to many relationship with this table called cost purchase. It means that, guys, it means that if you go in this table, the relationship is created on two fields. Those two fields are, as I said, that if there is no matching field available in the tables, you cannot go and use the related function. You can't use the related tags. Okay, so this is your answer. Let's focus on this part, because here we have, in this table we have actually fetched the author name. So these two tables, first of all, let us discuss. Now one to many means that in this table, whatever is highlighting, which is book name, this will not going to be repeated. It will only comes once. It will appear in the database only once. So you can say it's like one entry at a time. So if it is a book A, if it is a book B, if it is a book C, in this table that book will not be repeated. Author can repeat, because right now the relationship is based on the book name fields. You can see that. Okay, over here in this table, book name can come anytime, many times, several times, or maybe let's say even if it is not coming many times, that's okay. We'll talk about that. That's called the 101, one-to-one relationship. Right now it says one to many because here it says that the book name is repeating. Now who has done this judgment for you? Well, the PowerPivot itself. The engine is very smart, right? You can also do it. You can also do it. How you can do it? Well, if I, let's say, select this and I delete this, for example, by mistake this is deleted, and let's say that by default this relationship is not created. For example, let us assume that I delete this, delete from the model. This is your data modeling. Okay, do you want to permanently delete this relationship? Let me say that yes, I want to delete it, for example. Now there is no relationship. When there is no relationship, you see that this author name, is giving you a warning because this author name we actually captured from this table. You're getting the point. I have deleted this. Now once I have deleted this, I take you back to the data view. Now if we go to the data view, you find here surprising that there is an error coming. And if you have to read the error, you see that it says that the column author name list author either doesn't exist or does not have a relationship to any table available in the current index. So it says either this field is not available in that main table, which means author, somebody has maybe renamed, I don't know, or the another thing, it says that there is no relationship. You're getting the point. So if I go and let's say delete it, for example, you have just come to this the PowerPivot window and let's assume that there is no relationship. There is no relationship, which is created. Okay, so let me first delete this. So the moment you start typing the related, I want to show you what is going to happen. Though relationship always gets created by default, but let's say due to some reason it is deleted, you should know that how the things works. So if I let's say write here the author name colon. Now when I write the related DAX, you see that in the related DAX you don't see now the auth name table. You don't see that. You only see the book price original. You remember in the diagram view there is a still relationship one to many because there the book is coming only once and here it is coming many times. So that means relationship is one to many. So related will not show you the table if there is no relationship. So that is the point. That is where your mind should immediately understand that what is the problem. This is a very striking thing. It should immediately strike in your mind that look, this is what I have not done. This is what I have to do. If there is no relationship, you can't go and use the related table because related will not give you that table. You got the point? Okay. So now what I'm going to do? Well, I just go and press escape and go back to my this called the diagram view, and now I will go and manually put the relationship. How you gonna do that? Well, you just need to go and drag this book name over this book name. See this, just go and drag this with this book name and relationship is going to be created. Okay, PowerPivot will automatically create the relationship one to many. It will automatically create. You don't have to tell PowerPivot one to many relationship, one from here and many over here. You see that it is done and it also giving you the right arrow, one to many. You can also call it one to many, that's perfectly fine. One to many, many to one, it's one and the same thing, guys. Okay, now before you ask me, so is there any sort of other relationship? Yes, there is another also, which is called one to one and many to many. Okay, I'll just talk about that in the next lecture in detail. Right now, from the related DAX perspective, we have to cover this. We have to understand that there has to be a relationship. Okay, now if I go back to the diagram view, I will be able to see my that related DAX. Okay, so let us go and see that. So I click on the data view, and now we will go and use the the author. So I write here the author name related, and sorry, I press equals to related, and once again I press open parenthesis, and you see that I have got the author. So we need the author. So this works like a VLOOKUP, isn't it? You just go and press enter and there we go. So now I have here the author name coming. Let's have a look. You see that I have got the author name. So after relationship I was able to do it. Okay, now what if you want, let's say the original price, the book original price from this table. You already see this there is actually already a DAX I have created. Okay, so you can see it's again a related simple and it's going in the book price original table and picking the original price header. Okay, now if for example if I go here and I say that this is not original price, but this is, let's say, something else, which is I just go and change. I'm trying to change the basically the header. Okay, so I press enter here. Now what will happen if you change the header over here? Okay, so this is now you have renamed a column in table in the data model that is linked to an Excel table. If the Excel table is updated, your change will be overwritten. I told you about all this. You remember, if in the future when the things will be changed in Excel, this will also be renamed. So you should never go and rename the things in the PowerPivot window, as I said before also. Okay, so that's a soft warning for you. But anyways, why I did that, because I just wanted to see that how the things are going to work here. You see that it has automatically changed to E. Okay, so this is very important point, right? So now let me just go back and change this to its original name. Okay, so as you can see that the moment I refreshed, I am seeing my original price, the original header. Okay, so always do the changes in basically your the main Excel. Okay, so now what is another thing I like to do here? So now you have seen that related actually is very easy. Now what if I want to, let's say guys, check that if this book the category is it's a basic level, or so what is the levels? Okay, so I just go and like to use one more header, level. Okay, level of learning, let's say. So for that again I can use the related tags. Okay, so related, and then this is the one I want to use it. Okay, I go and press enter. Okay, now this would also come. So by now you understand two things. One is a relationship has to be there, and to have a relationship you must have one common the field. Okay, and that one common field always works on the principle of one to many. Okay, so let's talk about that now. That's very important. So we saw that related actually is using a relationship which is called one to many. One to many, right? You can say one to many, one to many, or you can say many to one. That's one and the same thing. Okay, but here there is a one important thing you need to understand. Where exactly you are using the related tags, this is also very important. Okay, where exactly you're using the related tags. I mean that, can you use this in any table? Like for example, in this we have used two tables. We have used this table and this table to get the author name, and then this table and then this table to get the level and the original price, right? So at a time there are two tables involved. Now let us understand this using these two tables. Now in these two tables, guys, tell me one thing. Tell me one thing. You use the related tags here, right? So first thing that, can I use the related tags here also for something like author is already there. Now let's say what I want to do, I want to actually check the maybe let's say the zone, what is the zone of this book using the related. So in PowerPivot you will go and use the related and you choose the this table cost purchase with the zone, but are you going to get the value? Tell me, what do you think? This does not require you to be very super, human being in PowerPivot, super intelligent in PowerPivot. You can think this from the Excel perspective also. Are you able to? Can you do that? Yes, somebody said no. Absolutely. Why no then? Tell me the reason. Why can't you use here related? Yes, fantastic. Because if related works like a Excel VLOOKUP, you ask yourself, can you use the VLOOKUP here? You can't use the VLOOKUP here. Why? Because this book is repeating under many different zones. So this book can be purchased by somebody under the south zone also. South zone also. Any zone. Let me go and do the filter here. So which one VLOOKUP will pick for you? You know that VLOOKUP always picks the first value, isn't it? For example, let's talk about this book, One Day in Village. It is rented under zone, north, west, and maybe then other zones also. So which one the VLOOKUP will pick? VLOOKUP always gives you north. You can't say that that's a wrong value, but then that's not even a correct value because there are other zones also. You're getting the point. So that's why it is said that you have to go and use the related DAX on the many side of the table. See, when you have one-to-many relationship, you always have two tables or maybe more than two. Now, in the two tables, one table will always have one entry. That's why it is called one-to-many. One entry means of each item. Okay, each item has one entry. So no repetition, right? No repetition. On the other side, you have the another table which has, multiple entries, repeated entries, right? Multiple entries. What we call that table? That's basically your many side table, isn't it? One to many. This is two table. This is your two table. But on this side, you have a one side table. Getting the point? So in the many side, there will be a repetition, of course. There will be a repetition. So when you go and use the related, you can use that here, not here. No related DAX here, because I cannot go and look up anything from this side to this side, because here I have a repetition and you do not know if that the item which is repeating, it is aligned under how many different headers. Under the same header, how many different subheaders, like you saw the zone. Which one to pick then? So if you go back to your manage, it's a common sense, guys, right? It's a very common sense. So you can take the example of Excel VLOOKUP. Now let's say I am here. I want to figure it out. For example, I want to get this book name, maybe the zone, right? So if I try to use here the zone, let's say the zone name, okay, I go and use the related DAX. You see that what will happen? You don't get the table name. This is, I think, phenomenal. Your DAX is taking care of this part, that which one to show and which one not to show. And if you still can't figure it out, then nobody can help us. Trust me. Related never works from the one side to the many side. It works from the many side to the one side. Okay. So not only you understood that there has to be a relationship, not only you understood today that it has to be one to many, right? But you also understood that if I have to use the related, then on which table I have to use it and why. Why is the most important thing. Okay? Do we have any doubts in this case? No, you can't use the related. No, you can't. Well, if you have to find out the zone, then you need to create your data modeling accordingly. This is something we will take in the next session, right? So he's saying that what if I have to go and find out the zone? Then there has to be some system. There has to be some data modeling. Maybe you will go and develop one more table and you figure it out how you can resolve it. But as far as one book name has two zones, three zones, no, there's no way. Okay, so this is how it is. So I hope that this one is pretty much clear, right? Related DAX. So now, since I have created this as a calculated column, you might like to see the other benefits also, because right now I see all this information here, right? And this information does not make any sense for us. This is not a useful information, is it? Because this is just a data. Now, what if I have 10,000 rows here or maybe 1 million rows here? What would I do with this author names and the levels? I mean, I will not go and check this. My analysis starts from pivot table. On the pivot table, I have to actually, from the pivot table perspective, I have to see that these fields, how I can use it. Isn't it? right? Now I'll give you one example. See that. You remember that we didn't really talk much on the calculated columns, right? But today we can talk. Like for example, now I have created here label. Now in this table I have gathered all the information from different tables, right? So because maybe under one table you want to capture all the information, isn't it? So now what I do is I go in this pivot table. I'm going from, I'm using this. Let's go into this pivot table. So let's say there is a new worksheet. I go and create it. Okay. This is a new worksheet I've created. Now, as you know that we have this the pivot, right? So we have this pivot fields. Now tell me one thing, guys. If I ask you that, what I want to do, I want to check that, so far, what is actually the total revenue paid? What is the total revenue earned? The revenue, right? The total paid amount basically, right? In your header, if you go by your header, total amount paid based on categories. Wow, that's fantastic. How are you gonna get that? So basic, we have a category, we have an intermediate category, and then we have an advanced category. How will you do this? This I leave it to you. You have to figure it out. So this is where the calculated column can come very handy. The same calculated column which we were saying that our measure is better than the calculated column. But I said that, and I also said that this is something you will find on internet, on books, everywhere you go, that measures are best. Of course they are best, but then if the measure can do everything, calculated columns in first place never existed. We go and use the measures a lot, but calculated columns have their own beauty. I'll tell you how. Now you see that when you create the calculated column, you can use them as a filter. I can use this as a filter, but I can't use measure as a filter. I mean slicer, I beg your pardon, right? You can slice and dice using this thing if you want to check the report. For example, I say that I want the author-wise performance, or let's say author-wise. So I'm just using this author name here, and let's say we want to check how much basically the paid. So for the paid, I'm using this paid, or you can create a separate the DAX measure also. But right now, let's say simply go and calculate that what is the total amount paid for these things. Okay. Now what if I want to actually go and check this by the level? This is wonderful, right? So you can use this as a field header also. Now what if I don't want to use this as a field header? Maybe I just want to just create a slicer. For that, a calculated column allows you to create the slices, and this is something I really like, because all those people who have been using this Excel pivots, you know that without slices, pivot looks very dull, right? It takes the pivot to the next level because of these slicing and dicing. I mean, we can slice and dice the pivots using these the slices. Okay, so now if I click on the advanced, I can quickly go on the advanced side, I can quickly go on the basic side, I can quickly go on the intermediate side also. So this is not possible actually if I create a measure for that. So that means if you want, let's say if you want to use a field as a slicer in your pivot, while calculated column is the option available, because you know that this field available. Okay, you know that this calculated column we created it. Okay, we created it by using the related tags. Okay, and as I said that, of course, you can just go and create a different pivot also. For example, I just copy this, and this is your, let's say, pivot. I go and paste this here, and now let's say I simply want to use the this instead of the author. I simply want to see that how the revenue is coming from different levels. So people are following the advanced level books, basic books or intermediate level books, so that way, right? So I just go and first of all, because this filter, this is a copy of this pivot, so this is going to be controlled by both the this slicer will control both the pivots, so better you create a separate one, but I'm just explaining you, so that is fine. You see that I have got here advanced in the basic, intermediate. Okay, makes sense. Now tell me immediately, if I have to check that what is the contribution of these books in terms of the percentage on the total grand total, how I'm going to do that? Yes, absolutely. We will quickly go and use the all function here. Okay, so we can do that, isn't it? So to do that, let's this is just an extra bonus, kind of sort of you can say revision. So let's go to the Power Pivot and let me click on the manage and sorry, I don't want to actually come here. I was just looking for this new measure. So first I create the the all measure. Now I think we don't even need to have that. I mean, simply let's create the contribution only, and we will go and directly use that contribution percentage. Okay, so we first of all say divide, so I can use the divide. In the numerator I will go and use the total sum, right? Sum is for paid, cost purchase paid. The moment I put this sum here, your filter context will come into action, as you know that I've explained you in the previous tutorials. Now in the denominator I have to get everything, so you remember calculate, we will go and use the sum, cost purchase, so this is paid, cost purchase total, and now this is the most important thing, you will put the all, you remember that, right? So we will go and now say that ignore all the filters, and this is from the cost purchase table. Fine, check the formula. Expression is not valid, one more bracket I think. Check the formula now. Yeah, no error, so I guess this doesn't require anything. So I don't have to create a separate field for this. This is what was my plan, the total which we used to create before, right? So value, go in the value to change the number formatting. So let's click on this, the percentage. Okay, this one, click OK, click OK, and there we go. So we have the answer. Can we cross check now? So let's say this divided by this, right? 61% makes sense. 28, perfect. So this is working. So this way we can check the things, right? So calculated column was fantastic, right guys? Okay. Now after this, now we will see that if I have to create this as a measure, the same thing, how I can do it. For example, I want to get the same sort of the result. I want to actually, so my point is that I want to use now this related DAX as a measure. So you have seen that how it is used as a calculated column, and there was a absolutely need for that. Okay, related as a calculated column. Now can I use this related DAX as a measure? So this is something we will talk after a while now.